I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're diving into the reflective and poignant world of Light Observations, a small book of verse by Barbara Webb. This powerful collection of poetry touches on deep and meaningful themes from the pain of loss to the resilience of the human spirit. Through her verses, Barbara offers readers a window into the emotions and experiences that shape our lives. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put her in the spotlight today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her amazing book. The links are below this interview. Barbara, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you for having me. It's really an honor to be here talking with you.
Oh, the honor is mine. So happy to have you on the show. These passages in the book are just beautiful. Are they something you wrote over a number of years and then eventually compiled them into a book, or something you wrote specifically for this book?
I wrote them over a couple of years. As you had mentioned, the origin was the passing away of my niece. She had been a drug addict and alcoholic for a number of years, and that had long-term consequences. And although she'd been sober, the consequences were eventually fatal. And so I wrote a verse in her memory. And I read the verse and I looked at it and I thought, well, this is kind of stark and somber. Maybe I should write a second, more positive verse. And so I did so. And after that, I wrote a few more verses, and I happened to share them with some of my former classmates in Alaska. And they said, why don't you put this in a book? And so I did, and this is the result.
Well, it's you've taken tragedy and turned it into something positive by inspiring people with these poems. Do you have a favorite in your book? I know it's like asking to choose among kids, but do you have a favorite poem in the book?
Yes, I do. That's a difficult question to answer, but right now, I think my favorite is The Race. And the reason that's my favorite is because it speaks to the best in all of us. It's based on a true life story of some children who were runners in the Special Olympics. And during the race, one of the young boys fell. At that time, all the other runners stopped, they picked him up, and together they crossed the finish line. So I think this is an example of children, innocent children, showing us that caring for each other is much more important than being competitive.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing that video. It was very, very inspiring to see the other runners help that runner who fell. If
Yes,
more of us could be like that in life, I think the world would be a better place. That's for
I
sure.
do too.
Do you want to
Absolutely.
read that book poem to us? Or
Sure,
I don't want to put you on the
sure.
spot, but if you have it handy, that'd be great.
Okay, I do. I have it right here. It's on page 40. It's the last verse in the book. It was their Olympics, their race. They had trained hard, up early, daily exercising, daily running and more running, training their muscles, going faster, covering more ground in less time. And today was the day. This was their race. How fast could they go? Would their coaches be happy? Would their parents be proud? Who would win? 1,000 thoughts and dreams at the starting gun. The guarding starting gun snaps the air. And now everyone is running, legs pumping, hearts pounding, rounding the first corner, rounding the second corner, rounding the fourth corner. There's the home stretch. The finish line is in sight. Then catastrophe. Suddenly Bobby is down, knees skinned, ankle twisted, dreams shattered. Then, almost as suddenly, the race leader stops. All the runners stop. They go back to Bobby. He is carefully lifted up. Supporting and carrying Bobby, the runners cross the finish line together. After all, this was their race, the human race.
Beautiful. That's very, very beautiful. And you capture the sacrifice an athlete makes to be an athlete, to be running at that level, to be engaged in that competition, and to stop running when you've been training to run your whole life, basically, is a monumental sacrifice, but
It
a very
really
human
is.
sacrifice.
Absolutely. And I sent a copy of the verse to the head of the Special Olympics, and she graciously sent back an email and said, "Thank you very much." She said, "We have stories happening like this every day. So we
Mm.
can learn so much from the children."
Exactly. The human race is much more important than the foot race. And I think you've made that very, very clear in your work, and that's great. Now, you have a unique distinction. You're a native Alaskan. You don't live there now, but you were
No.
raised and born in Juneau, I believe.
Yes, I was raised and born in Juneau, and I'm a member of one of the Native Alaskan tribes. And
Wonderful.
I came to Colorado to go to undergraduate school in Durango because they have free tuition for Native Americans.
Hmm.
And after that, I decided to stay and go to law school, which is where I met my husband. And I've lived in Colorado ever since.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I was going to ask you if your background in Alaska influenced your writing at all?
It contributed to one of the verses in the book called Childhood Games,
Mhm.
which is my reflection on being treated differently because of my ancestry at a very young age.
Yeah. So that's one of the many themes you explore in your book. You explore addiction, you explore discrimination, you explore the beauty of humans stopping to help human. What made you decide on the different themes, and what are some of the other themes that you explore within the pages of this book?
There are a couple of other contemporary themes, and the one that comes to mind that I think is other people could relate to is the one called the gargoyle. Some years ago, I traveled to France and I had the privilege of going to view the beautiful Notre Dame Cathedral.
Mhm.
And then I was devastated to hear of the horrendous fire that almost destroyed that cathedral.
Mm.
And so, based on the fire, I wrote the verse called the gargoyle. And it is written from the perspective of the gargoyle. And at the end of the verse, I ask, the gargoyle is asking, "Can they save us? For we are only made of stone." And this is a reference to a very famous movie that was made in the 1930s called The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Mm.
And at the end of the movie, they are about to hang the beautiful gypsy girl, and the hunchback looks up and he looks at the gargoyle and he says, "I wish that I too were made of stone."
Mm. Beautiful, beautiful. Would you like
So,
to read that poem to us, The Gargoyle?
sure.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think one of the best ways to explore your book is to hear some of the passages from it. I truly
Okay.
enjoyed
Okay.
Race, and I'd love to hear
Right.
this one as well.
Okay. This is on page 3.
Hmm.
Perched atop these smooth, beautiful stones, here I have sat for hundreds of years, surveying the city, breathing in the sights, the sounds, the lights, and relishing my part in it, peering down at all the people looking up. Flash, flash, flash. How I loved having my picture taken. Look at me, look at me. Here I am. Do they see me? Did they see how hard I was working? How hard we were working to watch over Our Lady? Watching, always watching, on guard, looking, listening. But then it happened. The fire and flames leaped so quickly. I cried out. We all cried out. Attention, warning, warning, danger, danger. Help us, please. Please save Our Lady. Please save us. The flames are too hot. They are burning us. The tears that stream from our eyes go unseen, vaporizing in the blaze. But look, they've heard us. The people are hurrying, running, screaming, frantic, grabbing and carrying, rushing in, rushing out. They save many things. Can they save us? For we are only made of stone.
Wonderful. Beautiful. Another beautiful passage in your book, another beautiful poem in your book. I really think it captures the essence of that horrific event when a wonderful slice of history, the Notre Dame Cathedral, could have been lost. I know it stands
It
as a
could have.
shell today. What's that? Yeah.
A couple of years ago, PBS put out a documentary. I don't know if you saw it, but it's on the reconstruction efforts of the cathedral, and it's very painstaking. It's just going to be magnificent when they're done.
Wonderful, wonderful. We'd love to see that restored to all its glory for sure.
Yes,
This book that we're
absolutely.
talking about today is certainly glorious. It is called A Small Book of Verse. It's written by Barbara Webb. It is a powerful collection of poetry that touches on deep and meaningful themes, from the pain of loss to the resilience of the human spirit. Through her verses, Barbara offers readers a window into the emotions and experiences that shape our lives. You've heard two of those poems today. There are many more within the pages, and they are just beautiful. You will love them. Barbara, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you. It's been my honor. Thank you.
The honor's been all mine. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.